Hey, welcome to Think Outside the Blind. My name is Gabe Abels, and I'm bringing you today my very first video on this channel. And it's a sea duck hunt I took a couple of weeks ago in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'd never hunted sea ducks before, wanted to do something completely new and different. Had a fantastic 2 days of hunting. I was just with one other fellow on day one and then with 5 other hunters on the second day. One of the great things of hunting with Northwind Outfitters is both their website's super easy for scheduling and they will work in individual solo hunters. These sea duck hunts are fairly easy in the grand scheme of duck hunting. Concealment doesn't take much at all, doesn't take a big investment in equipment. And the birds come in close. We were shooting almost all of our birds at the 15-20 yard mark at most. I missed a lot of passing shots as I was trying to take some of the farther shots on day 2. And I think that's both my shooting and that I needed a slightly different choke. And on this trip I used my Remington 870 Wingmaster. It's probably, I need to look up the serial number, but I know it's at least 30 years old because I bought it used from my duck hunting mentor about 25 years ago. I'm going to go over some of the equipment that I found super helpful on this sea duck hunt. First thing that I highly recommend is some type of waterproof bottom. I chose to go with rain bibs. I picked up these rain bibs from Cabela's. They're Frog Togs rain bibs and the Realtree Max 5. This grassland pattern, it worked really well. These were awesome rain bibs on this trip. Also had a coat, my Cabela's duck hunting jacket. I'm not even sure if they make this model anymore. Here again, Realtree Max 5, so seems to be a consistent pattern for me. You don't need a liner. It's recommended that you layer up because it can get pretty warm when the sun comes out in the California Bay there. So I wore a medium weight wool top underneath this jacket and a wicking liner base. Another thing I recommend, some type of blind bag. This is my favorite blind bag I've ever used. It's a dry case. You can find them on the web, search. I got this one on Amazon many years ago. It's held up at least 5 years. I've used it for both hunting and fishing. Dry Case LLC. Pieces of equipment that were pretty critical, it was super useful on this trip, were headlamps. I usually always pack 2 headlamps. These were very helpful in both the boat and on the rocks, getting your gear situated as the captains put out the decoys. Don't forget hearing protection. Hope to upgrade soon to some better type of hearing protection, but of course the foam earplugs always work pretty good. Sunglasses were super critical on this trip. The second day was cloudy. They were still useful. First day super sunny once the sun broke the horizon. The last thing to chat about before moving into the footage were the shells I used. I used a combination of these heavy steel 3-inch, 1.25 ounce number 3s. And then a very similar load. I love this load, the Drylock 3-inch, 1 3/8 ounce number 3s. I used to exclusively shoot 1 3/8 ounce number 2s in the Drylock before they got so expensive, and I moved to some of those cheaper shells, but these worked really well in my 870. I had lots of trouble in my 870 using these heavy steels. I'd forgotten that they tend to be a little bit too long and get hung up on the ejection on that 870, so I may soon relegate that 870 to be a 2 3/4 inch gun. Stay tuned, I'm about to show you the hunting footage, and then at the end of the video I'm going to cover cleaning these ducks and preparing them for a future episode where I put them in a gumbo.
2 more dead ones. The back one still's got his head up. I don't want to mess him up. He looks like a nice bird.
So it's the next morning, and I got in last night around 9 o'clock from an 8.5-hour drive from the San Francisco Bay Area. I hunted 2 days with Northwind Outfitters and got 4 different species of ducks, including surf scoter, goldeneye, ruddy duck, and greater scaup. Was able to add those to my list and push me to the 20 species list in the 24 years that I've been duck hunting, since starting in the North Woods of Louisiana. This morning I'm going to show you how to breast out these ducks. I've got 11 that I'm going to breast out. I've got 3 in the freezer, greater scaup and 2 surf scoters. I'm going to be sending those off to my taxidermist and let him pick the best of the 2 surf scoters. And in other videos I'm going to show you how to cook these sea ducks. I'm going to prepare them. Right, so I've got a Drake surf scoter here. This is one of the ones that was a little too shot up. One of the best of the specimens that I'm going to keep. So I'm going to start here and just dig in and pierce the skin here so I can get in underneath it. And then just start peeling things back here and exposing the breast and the wishbone area, where the different areas where we're gonna need to clean the duck. Alright, so I like to make sure I expose the breast all the way down here. Got my buddy Filson walking in here wondering what all these good smells are about. Being surrounded by the dogs. Oh, and a bee just flew in here. Let's see if this could get interesting. Alright, so got it exposed here all the way around to where you see the bottom of the breast. Got the wishbone here. And on a second stage, we'll make sure to get all this silver skin that contains some of this fat off of it. RJ with Northwind Outfitters said that this is really the key to removing all of the removing some of the poor taste that's associated sometimes with sea ducks, that it's often in the fat layer, which I remember that lesson as well when I learned it from an old cat fisherman and we were cleaning giant catfish, that yellow fat layer is often where the worst flavor can be associated on certain animals. Alright, so I'm going to start here by making incisions with the head facing me here, incisions on the breastbone here, and then I'll flip the duck around and work the meat off the rest of the breastbone. Alright, so I'm going to make an incision right here, follow that breastbone around, or excuse me, follow the wishbone around. Now right here we've got to where the breast starts, and we want to bring that around, kind of angle the knife back around, and this will set us up for a good fillet. Alright, gonna do the same thing here on this side. We're gonna follow, stick the knife in, Alright, now I've hit the bottom of the wishbone here. I'm going to turn my knife out, away from the duck, and follow this around and go ahead and release. Alright, so now I like to turn the duck toward me, and I'm going to follow here along the breastbone, follow along this ridge until I sink down. I'm going to hit the sternum right here. I'm at the end of the ribbed part, or of the, so I'm just going to follow this along all the way down. And then just peel it up as I go along. I like to make sure I capture this little sliver of a tenderloin here. Those can be good dog treats. And just continue to follow along. Here's that little tenderloin I was mentioning that stays here within the cavity, right here against the, tucked against the ridge in the bottom of the breastplate. Alright, I've got one side removed off of this Drake Surf Scutter, and now I'm going to remove this other side. Again, we started, after pulling the skin back, we started by releasing it up here by the wishbone. And now we're just going to follow this down again along this breast ridge bone till you hit the breastplate down here. I like to make sure I come in and cut in behind. You can go ahead and remove this little tenderloin piece. And then we're going to come along, just follow, much like you would, follow the breastbone. Make sure you get the bottom of the fillet out. A lot of people I've seen have cut it short, and they don't end up getting the bottom of the breast here. They end up cutting that short. That's why whenever I peel the skin back, I make sure to come all the way down here and really open it up. Alright, so as I'm going to continue cleaning, I just wanted to show you, it'll show up here, right here. Shows you how tough these birds are. Steel shot just barely sitting in the top layer. Alright, I'm going to start by just starting to clean up. There's often parts of lung right here on the back of breasts when you breast them out. So things look good on this side. I'll flip it over and start working on this membrane. Pulling it out. And I'll just keep working around. Pulling this off just so it'll stay tender and pull off any of these remnants of the fat that'll come along the edges. Sometimes it just helps to cut you a clean edge where you get these little remnants here. So we'll do a little silver skin removal here. Right, and do a little edge trim right here. Alright, that one looks good. I've already put half the breast, cleaned them inside, and now I'm going to take this other half that I've cleaned up and take them inside, run them under the faucet, and then toss them in the bags with the other. Hope you enjoyed all of that. Again, a big learning curve and using the cameras to try to get better coverage for you. I look forward to that. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up for me. I look forward to growing this channel with you, learning how to bring you better content, and hopefully showing you something a little different that everyone else doesn't do. Again, my name is Gabe with Think Outside the Blind. Thanks a bunch.